Kwararafa Television. This is Kwararafa Television.
Hello and welcome to Live Well Show on Kwararafa Television. Live Well Show is a program that focuses on promoting wellness and healthy living. I am Esther Oka Steven, and our topic for today is on cholera. With me to be deliberating on the topic cholera is Dr. Obaro O.M., Chief Medical Officer, Department of Internal Medicine from the Federal Medical Center, Jalingo. He has spent years helping people live healthier lives. Sir, you're welcome to the program.
Thank you very much.
Nice having you with us.
It's a pleasure being here.
All right, viewers, with the current situation of cholera outbreak in Nigeria, Nigeria faces a severe nationwide cholera outbreak with over 57,000 suspected cases, with a death record of 357, most especially in states like Borno and Jos. This is more reason why Doctor is in the studio this moment to deliberate on what is cholera. Nice having you, Doctor.
Thank you very much.
Please give us an insight on what is cholera.
All right, thank you, viewers. Cholera is a disease, diarrheal disease that is caused by a bacteria. The name of the bacteria is Vibrio cholerae, but it doesn't concern us so much. And it's a disease of public health importance. Why we say so is because it affects the general public. And like she said, if you are not careful, it spreads very fast. Another thing about it is that if one doesn't take the right steps, it leads to mortality. That means it leads to death in a short time. So that is why we say it's a disease of public health importance, like many other infectious diseases. So that's what cholera is.
Okay, sir. Can you now explain the causes of it? What causes it?
All right. Like as I said earlier on, cholera is caused by a bacteria, Vibrio cholerae. And the main thing is the way it spreads. We live in the poorly developed world, like they say, whereby we still have things like open defecation. That means people go out to pee and to defecate past stool in bushes and all those stuff. We also live in places where it's prone to flood by overflowing rivers, especially at the peak of the rainy season. We also live in places whereby we have insurgency, such that people might not be living in their normal habitat. They are put in camps. What they call those camps again? Camps, refugee camps. And in those refugee camps, some of the hygienic practices are questionable. So those are some of the. So we are talking about the cause is by the bacteria, but the spread is more important than the cause, in the sense that we also have things like poor sanitary hygiene. We also have things like poor water supply. We talk about absence or lack or inadequate potable water for both drinking and domestic use. So that's how it spreads. So we find that it's is at its peak at the raining season. During the dry season, people go into the bush, they defecate. Then during the dry seasons, there is not enough water. So when the rains come, it washes most of those feces and other things that are already contaminated into water bodies, and people still drink and use these water bodies like rivers, streams for both drinking and domestic use. We can also get cholera through contaminated food, like foods that are not properly washed, foods that are not properly cooked or covered or preserved. So the spread is very, very important, and I believe that if we take the right measures to curtail the spread, we can avoid or reduce the incidence of cholera to the barest minimum.
Doctor, when you talk about fruits and food, there's an experience I encountered last year, I guess during the rainy season as well, during this fruit season. When I was coming back from work, I met a pregnant woman buying fruits. And would I say carve? Maybe she had been carving for what she wanted buying, because after packaging her fruit, she just picked a mango and then starts biting and eating the mango. So I felt that I was like, won't this affect the baby inside?
Well, it may affect the baby indirectly, but for her, she is the prime target, in the sense that if the mango or any other fruit that she takes in is contaminated, it will go and obstruct the normal flora in the intestines, and she may present with the symptom of diarrhea. This diarrhea, which is one of the symptoms, we have other symptoms, but the major one is diarrhea. Passage of large quantity of watery stool. There's what they call watery stool, there's what they call loose stool. This one is like you are pouring water from a cup. I'm sure for those that have some kind of, you just say, when I just go, the thing just coming like as if you open tap. And we are talking about large quantity. And in that diarrhea that they are passing, it's not just water. There are minerals, there are elements, electrolytes, we call them in medicine, that are being lost through that those fluid. And the resultant effect is that the person gets weak, and for some, they also present with cramps in the legs, muscle cramps. But the main thing is the diarrhea, followed by the weakness, such that they can lose large volumes of their body fluid in the space of a short time. And if nothing is done, they can go into large deficits. They will get dehydrated. By that we mean there's not enough fluid in their system, so the cells are deprived of let's use layman language, water that they can they can stay healthy in. So that's the thing. So for that pregnant woman you mentioned, of course the baby can be affected indirectly. If she loses so much fluid and she's weak and she doesn't get help, she passes on or becomes very sick. And then if she's very sick, definitely the baby will also be affected, because whatever affects the mother affects the baby since she's carrying the baby.
Okay, sir. And also, I wanted to shed more light on the causes of this cholera.
As I said earlier on, the main cause is a bacterial illness. It's caused by bacteria. I'm sure we know we have viruses, bacteria, protozoa, fungi, but that one is just stuff in medicine. But the main thing is the bacteria, and the spread of that bacteria is what makes it a disease of public health importance, such that we talk about open defecation, poor hygiene, poor sanitary condition, lack of adequate potable drinking water and water food. So those are the things. So if those things are taken care of, the spread of the disease will be reduced to the barest minimum. That's the thing.
Okay. All right, viewers, will be going on a video break on cholera. We'll be right back shortly.
In treatment centers across the state, health workers race against time as new cases keep arriving. It's been weeks since the first severe case was reported.
We are unable to reach to some places because of the security in this area, so it's not easy to reach that population. And for people to come to the city also is taking some time. So we get late arrivals and it gets difficult to treat them.
Doctors say the disease can kill within hours if left untreated. And for dozens of people in the city, help arrived too late. In the Goni Waziri family, 3 members survived the outbreak.
It started with my husband, followed by my 2 children. By the time we took my husband to the hospital, he was barely conscious. It was scary. At some point, I lost all hope.
Health workers say poor hygiene, as well as contaminated food and drinks, were responsible for the spread of the disease.
This community was the hardest hit by the cholera outbreak here in the city of Maiduguri. The spread was fast because the conditions were stacked against the people who live here. Overcrowded homes, poor sanitation, and limited access to clean water.
The outbreak has exposed long-standing challenges facing communities here. Officials say preventing more cases will require more than emergency treatment. But it will also depend on personal hygiene, improving access to clean water and healthcare services.
This was as a result of pipe-borne pipes that were broken and got contaminated with sewer, which led to this condition.
With the rainy season well underway and new cases being reported, health workers in Borno State fear there is a long road ahead to get this outbreak fully under control. Ahmed Idris.
All right, viewers, if you are just joining us, this is Live Well Show. It is a program that focuses on promoting wellness and healthy living. With me in the studio have been Dr. Obaro from the Federal Medical Center, Jalingo, and we've been talking on cholera. All right, doctor, how can we distinguish between cholera and diarrhea?
All right, it's a good question. I said in my introductory remark that cholera is a diarrheal disease.
Okay.
That means it's one of the causes of diarrhea illness. Now, to distinguish it from other causes, the commonest type of diarrhea disease is what we call food poisoning. It doesn't mean your food is poisoned as per somebody trying to kill you and put poison in your food. That's not what it means. It means that you ingest or you take in food that is not properly prepared or stored or preserved, and then your body reacts to any of the microorganisms that contaminates it. For common food poisoning, most of them run a self-limiting course. That means they stop on their own, except the quantity of the infective agent is very much. I'm sure most viewers will agree that at one point in time or the other, they have eaten and the next thing they have diarrhea, 2-3 episodes. Maybe it starts with the stool being soft like camel or beans, and then later it becomes watery. But after a while, it stops on its own. Most of such don't last more than 12, 24, at most 36 hours. But when it comes to cholera, the major presenting symptom is diarrhea, but the quantity of the stool is what matters. Some people describe it as rice water stool. I'm sure many of us have watched rice when you want to boil it. The color of the water, that's the color of the, so that's one distinguishing factor. Although I often tell people that you don't need to wait till you see it's rice water before you know it's cholera. But that's the way it's described commonly as rice water stool. That's one. Two, the quantity of the stool is much. Sometimes one can pass up to half a bucket. Sometimes 5 liters, 3 liters, sometimes 10 liters, depending on the quantity of the bacteria that is ingested in through the contaminated water or the food. So that's another distinct way. Apart from the color of the diarrhea, which is watery, the other thing is the quantity of the stool that comes out. And that is why most people present with weakness. If you pass that quantity of stool 2-3 times, you feel weak at the end of the day. Thank you.
All right, doctor, I've seen cases whereby someone might be having runny stomach, and at the end of the day, instead of going to check him or herself, you find out that the person will be taking salty water and some other mixed items instead of visiting the hospital or a public health center around them. So my question is, how can families protect themselves during an outbreak?
All right. So when there's an outbreak of cholera, one preventive measure that families can do is to boil the water that they take, or if they can afford it, take bottled water. If they cannot, boil the water they take. For the food, they should make sure it's properly cooked, eaten hot, and then any leftover should be well preserved, covered properly, or stored in the refrigerator. So when families take these measures, they are not likely to get infected during an outbreak. Another measure they can take is when they visit the restroom, the toilet, they should wash their hands very well. Wash their hands very well. Another measure they can take is like what we said earlier on. When they buy fruits and vegetables, they should be washed properly. Properly before taking them. Like the story you gave about that woman that just bought mango and started taking. No. She wash them properly. Unfortunately, most of the people that sell fruits, they just leave them exposed. Flies and other things perch on them, and a lot of things that happen like that. So all such things should be properly washed. Once that is done, together with the things I said previously, the chances of the family or any member of the family coming down with cholera will be very, very slim. That means they are not likely to have it.
Okay. All right, doctor, going down to our local communities, because we in the cities, I might say we have about 80% or 90% privilege to have clinics around us, private clinics, federal centers around us, unlike local communities, the rural areas most especially. So what do you think those living in the local communities should do when they begin to experience cases like this?
All right. Very good question. This question reminds me of what you said, that people start taking some things. In medical practice, there's what they call first aid.
Okay.
First aid is not primarily for doctors or nurses. There are things that people should know about and do before getting to a hospital.
Okay.
And about 60 to 70% of the time, if you do those first aid properly, they reduce the severity of the illness or the chance of getting complications. For cholera disease, like we are discussing, the most important first aid is to replace the fluid. Sometimes the person can present with vomiting, but the main thing is the diarrhea. So most of the time there is no vomiting. So what we advise, people can drink as much fluid as possible to replace what is going out. And as I said earlier on, what is going out is not just water. So we advise that people should take what they call ORS, oral rehydration solution. Those days we teach people how to constitute it. We talk about 10 level tablespoon of sugar, 1 level tablespoon of salt, and you put it in a bottle of, in a water, the content of a bottle of beer. But now we have ORS that is prepared already. Every chemist, you get ORS there. It used to be as cheap as 20 naira, 15 naira. Maybe because of the cost of things, might have gone up slightly. But I still believe it's not above the reach of at least 98-99% of the people around. Now, the first aid, what people talk about, what people in the hinterland can do that don't have quick access to, even if you are in city, you still do it. The first thing to do is get the ORS. Either you prepare it at home or you buy the one that comes in sachet. The powder comes in sachet, already prepared in by pharmaceutical companies, and then you reconstitute it. Some of them is with 500 mils of water. 500 mils of water just talks about a pure water. Some of them is with 2 pure water. That's 1,000 mils of water. Now, if you are not sure of the water, you boil the water.
Okay.
If you are sure of it, you use it directly. Okay. If you are using bottled water, for instance, you don't need to boil it again. But if you are using sachet water, which we call pure water, that we are not sure, you can boil it. Just 100 degrees. Just boils, you remove it, let it cool, you add the salt, and then you start taking it. The thing about it is that it should not last longer than 24 hours once you constitute it. But from what I said earlier, with the volume of stool that is being passed, somebody should be able to take 3 to 5 liters of fluids. You take it, what they say in Hausa, ake, several times, as often as possible. In fact, the teaching is, once you go to toilet, you come back, you drink water. That ORS that is constituted, so that you know you are replacing it. And then, if we said that one is first aid, is not the treatment, 100% treatment. If you notice you are still getting weak despite taking that ORS, the next most wise thing to do is to locate the nearest health facility. Okay. Because for many, they may need IV drips, that's infusion, so that it can go directly into the veins and get to the cells.
All right.
Then there might, I'm talking about the treatment now, there might be need to take antibiotics.
Okay.
That will also help to reduce the power of the bacteria, so that it can help and it will run a short course. So, but most of it will stop on its own.
All right.
All right.
Okay, doctor, before I wrap up the show this evening, what role did you think the government should take in preventing an outbreak?
All right. Talking about outbreak, there was a year we had an outbreak in Zim.
Okay.
And in Mutumbium. Talking about what the government can do, we've said the disease is caused by bacteria, but the spread is what matters, and that's why it's a disease of public health importance. So we talk about provision of portable drinking water. When we say portable drinking, we mean water that is safe in adequate supply. Most of these wells, they are not as safe as we think. Sometimes the borehole, the public water that comes through the pipe, some of the pipes are rusty, some are broken, and some water seeps into the pipes and is carried to people's houses. So the government can come in through the agencies that are responsible for the supply of water, like the Taraba State Water Supply Agency, checking their pipes. Sometimes you are driving by, you see that some pipes are broken and water is seeping out. When I see those things, I normally call them because I have their numbers. Okay. Now, talking about the government, to talk about provision of public toilets.
Okay.
The other thing the government can do is, I don't want to use the word advocacy, but they can bring laws that will prohibit open defecation. I remember a time in Lagos, they were going from house to house to ensure that you have water system, the one they call water system type of toilet, so that you flush when you are done, rather than latrines and all those stuff. So those are some things. Then we talk about public enlightenment. Agencies of government can do public enlightenment.
Okay.
Go to communities, tell them about washing of fruits and vegetables. Also tell them about cooking of foods properly. Tell them about preserving foods, covering them when they are left over and all those stuff. So those are areas where the government can come in. Then when you talk about flood, if they can control flood, you know, most of the, I'm happy at what I'm seeing, the drainages are being cleared so that the waters can flow. When there is flood, if the drains are cleared, then the likelihood of flood is minimized to the barest minimum, because it will flow to where it should flow, to the rivers. Yes, so that's where the government can come in.
All right, one more thing, doctor. Can cholera be permanently cured?
Of course.
Okay.
It can be permanently cured. That's why it's not like hypertension, it's not like diabetes that we talk about control. If you take the antibiotics, if you replace the fluid, the diarrhea stops. And that means you are cured, you are well again. The other thing we can do is through microscopy, culture and sensitivity to know, and when it's cultured, they do sensitivity, they give the appropriate treatment. So it can be permanently cured. It's not like hypertension, it's not like diabetes that you say is only control, it's not like sickle cell disease. It can be permanently cured.
Thank you very much, doctor. Nice having you once again.
Thank you too for having me. It's a pleasure.
Thank you very much. All right, viewers, thank you for joining us from the beginning to the end of today's program, Live Well Show. And also, I can't just draw the curtain without thanking our doctor in the house, Dr. Obaro OM from the Federal Medical Center, Jalingo. Sir, hope you do us well by welcoming our invitation when next you are being invited.
No problem. If I'm opportune,
all right,
I'm around.
Okay, sir. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
All right, viewers, have a wonderful day. Stay blessed.